Darkcast Network. Welcome to the dark side of podcasting.
Well, welcome to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. And I'm Alanna.
I'm Kelsey.
And that's Gordo. Quietly in the corner. The silent partner.
He
I always have to mention.
If you can hear, I don't know if the
Yes.
mic will pick it up. He is purring. He's a happy boy right now.
Oh, no, I didn't hear anything. Don't they?
Oh.
I thought they said that they purr like whenever, though. Didn't they say
He
or like?
can, but it's normally when they're around people. Like most cats,
Okay.
I don't think like will purr for other cats or anything like that.
Right. But I guess I just thought I heard something like we always thought it was only if they were happy, but then it was like, oh no, they purr
Yeah.
if they're hurt or something too. Like maybe
Yeah,
it's maybe
it's
it's more of a
the
bonding thing.
the vibration is supposed to have some sort of healing thing for themselves as well as
Oh,
it sometimes a cat will cuddle with you if you're not feeling well and they'll start purring because they're trying to make their vibrations heal you too. It's very cute.
what the
Yeah,
hell?
yeah,
That's so adorable. I mean, like I
yeah,
know
it's
you're
really
like your
sweet.
pets can kind of understand when you're feeling bad, but that's beyond
Yeah,
what I expected you to say.
yeah, I heard that from some show they were doing where they uh it was like I think one of the things. But like the cats are most of the time it's cats, I guess, that are like in
Yeah.
hospitals or like hospice centers where they can tell like who's
Yes.
gonna die next. So they were
Like in
talking about like
sleep.
studies.
There
Yeah.
was Well, there was one in the book anyway, where the cat kept getting up on the person's whoever was going to die next in the hospice. They were kind of
Yeah.
just like go to their bed to like give them comfort, and then you'd know, oh, okay, the cat went in their room, they're going to die next. That sounds
Yeah.
more morbid than I meant it to. But I know what you
Yeah.
mean. Like you always hear about those different animals or whatever that like jump up on someone when they most need them and stuff. It's so
Yeah,
cool.
I know the first cat we had when I was younger and like uh if I was having really bad problems like with my stomach or anything like that, he would normally lay on my stomach. And
Oh yes,
whenever I was
right.
like really bad or my stomach hurt really bad, it was he'd lay beside me or he'd lay on my legs. He would
Oh,
know
because he
right away that
knew.
like yeah, and he wouldn't go near my stomach. Gordo will like jump on top of me. He doesn't care. But our other cat, he would not.
That's so
He
crazy.
cared. You could tell. Gordo does not. He's just like, "Oh, your stomach hurts? Let me launch myself onto it."
Right? He has no idea. He's like,
Yeah.
you'll know if my stomach hurts, but I have no idea what's going on with you.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's so crazy. Yeah, you wonder how do they know? Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something. I think it's how like animals like they can tell based on your scent and that kind of stuff for like they can tell your blood sugar and uh like
As
service
Gordo
animals and that kind of
shakes.
stuff. Yeah.
Or like,
So,
well, I mean, people don't give the animals and like pets and little kids as much credit as they have for being able to feel the vibe in the room, or
yeah.
the vibe of the way the person is feeling. Like
Yeah.
with us, like because what my hubby's got PTSD, and like so obviously we can be very attuned to his moods, and so sometimes it'd be like he'll like sigh. I'm like, you okay? You all good there? And be like, oh
Yeah.
no, I was just sighing. It was like, oh okay, yeah, we just want to make sure because you just like never know, right? And sometimes people are just
Yeah.
so like little kids, right? You think they don't know, but they know.
Oh yeah. They know a lot more than people give them credit for sure.
Okay, now I'm just picturing what you were just saying before. Well, we did start recording, but before we started the intro, and you said your niece was saying, "Come
Yeah.
on."
Yeah, it was cute. She was playing with her toys and she couldn't get something into, I don't know, she was trying to fit something through something else and it was too big and it wouldn't go through. She just kept going, "Come
Oh,
on." Like
a
she's like
square peg in a
frustrated.
round hole. Yeah. What is
Yeah,
this?
just come on.
When they just start to
Uh,
sound like tiny little adults, you're like, "Oh, you're so cute," and you're already frustrated with life.
yeah, you little 2.5-year-old going, "Come on."
What is this
Uh,
bullshit? No, just kidding.
but I was telling
Uh,
you, I can tell everybody else, my dad's trying to teach her that's groovy. And so
oh yeah, so
if you
cute.
say something to her, you say like, "Rooney, can you say like that's groovy or groovy?" She'll normally say it, and she's gotten a lot better. So she just looked at me and went, "Groovy." And I was like, "Yes, success." And I think she said it 3 or 4 times in a row, being like, "Rooney, is that groovy?" And she just goes, "Groovy." And we're like, "Yes, 80s baby." Like,
Yes.
it's
Oh
so
my god,
it's cute.
that's
It was like,
groovy. Or what's the
yeah,
other one that's like the opposite when it's gross? Oh, grody. You got to teach her grody too.
grody.
Then
Oh, yeah,
that's
she
man.
she does yucky.
Oh,
She
yucky.
whenever anything's dirty or she wants to sweep the floor or anything's on her hands, she just goes yucky.
Oh, she wants to sweep the floor. Okay, that's adorable.
Yeah, she helps. So sometimes she'll give you a dustpan. We have one we bought her from a dollar store, the dollar store, in case it gets wrecked and it's really light and like
Yeah.
small. So she'll give you the dustpan. She'll carries the broom, and then she'll be like, "Come," and then she'll like take you somewhere that there's like, I don't know, a rock or like a little bit by like the entryway that somebody dragged in, and she'll sweep it up, and then she goes to the garbage and she like pushes the garbage can pedal so that
Oh
the lid
my
opens and you
god.
have to like dump it in, and then she'll be like, "Okay, thanks." And I'm like, "Thanks for helping me sweep the floor." And it's like, "Okay." Because
It
she'll just
is
be like,
weird how
"Clean."
as kids, yeah, we like to just do all the things that as adults we just hate. Like,
Right?
oh, look at us,
I'm
we're
like,
being little adults.
yes.
I'm like, can
Yeah.
someone get my 16-year-old to be that excited about learning how to sweep? Because I'm like, wait, who taught you?
Yeah.
That episode of Modern Family where they show and Alex just trying to sweep, but she's just like flinging this broom back and forth and
God.
nothing is happening. You're like, what? Why is she so
Yeah.
smart, but like so inept at this fun household thing?
Yeah. It's pretty cute because I don't know, a few months ago, instead of like properly sweeping, she was just trying to hit things with the broom. Uh she would just
That
like fling it
tracks.
into the air or like swing it at you, and now like just a few months later she knows it's to sweep the floor. She doesn't raise it above the floor, she doesn't try and hit people with it.
Oh
So
my god. No high
yeah.
sticking with the broom.
Yeah,
That's
we
good.
kept telling her, broom down, keep it on the ground, keep it down."
Keep your stick on the ice.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my gosh. All
but
right. Oh, well,
yeah,
we're back. Hi. Hi, hello. Are
yeah,
you guys new here? If so, welcome. Welcome to this craziness, and we will get to a topic eventually, we promise.
yeah.
Oh, we hope you enjoyed last week. It was fun. I already got made fun of for mispronouncing Virginia. When I tried to say the place name and totally biffed it and then went, oh my God, nobody tell my mother. My brother was like, I'm totally telling mom. She's
I'm
just not
gonna
caught
tell
up.
on
She'll
you.
hear it. She's just not caught up with the episodes. She does listen.
Yeah, she
So,
does.
yeah. But yeah, it was a fun one and I was happy. Kelsey picked a fun picture for of Lady Wonder for the
Yeah,
thumbnail. Um,
it's cute.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad that one was fun because this one's probably going to be a little bit more of a bummer, at least on my side. I mean, it's unsolved cases.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we wanted to revisit our Canadian roots, I guess, 'cause it's been a while
Come
since we
back to
did a,
Canada.
yeah, Canada episode, and this time we were like,
It
let's do
has.
maybe some unsolved ones, because last time we just did true crime. So it's like, oh, let's
And
pick
by
a
last time,
more.
Was that like we figured it was like episode 2, or was
I
there one
think,
after
yeah,
that?
that was like the last time we actually did a 100% like
Crime.
Canada episode. I think we've
Yeah.
each done probably at least a few cases here and there over the time in
Right. And like
Canada, but
haunted places. I know there's been a couple of those, but yeah,
yeah,
it's been a while. You're right. It's
yeah,
we're
long
like,
time ago.
I'm glad you suggested it.
Yeah, I thought it'd be fun.
Mhm.
Mine
Sounds
is
so fun.
a little bit lighter, maybe, so maybe it'll be a
Oh.
balanced episode, I think.
Oh, okay. That
Uh,
is always kind of nice. When
yeah.
somebody picks like a really dark case, it's great if the other person isn't like, and also I did child murders.
Yeah, I know.
You're like, great.
Mine mine isn't too bad. Like it's not, I wouldn't say it's dark. It is a true crime case, but
Yeah.
uh
Wasn't a murder as you described. Well,
no, it's actually like a robbery. Uh
okay. I said like it wasn't a murder, but then I was like, well, she didn't say it didn't have a murder. So then as soon as I said that, I was like,
I
okay.
couldn't really say much about mine
Yeah.
without giving away like the story. Like it kind of
Right.
does. So
Yeah.
uh
We want
it
that.
it it does have a catchy little name if you try and look it up, and that's the Skylight Caper. Uh which is
Hmm.
kind of what hooked me because I was like, ooh, like I
Caper.
like a heist. This is kind of a heist robbery thing that happened, and
Weird.
yeah,
And it's called the Skylight Caper. Okay.
yeah.
I don't know
Uh,
this, I don't think.
I hadn't before until was looking up like I don't know if it was famous Canadian like unsolved cases or something along those lines, little like listicles, and then this one I was like, ooh, I kind of want to cover this. It all starts in the early hours of the morning of September 4th. So I think it's just after midnight or so. September
Okay.
4th, and this is Labor Day weekend back in 1972.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh. There's three men who end up meeting outside of the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts. Dun, dun, dun. They're gonna
Ah.
rob a museum. Oh,
Montreal Museum of Fine Arts. What do we call that? The
yeah.
MOFA? No, I don't know. They call the other one the MOMA or something, don't they?
Yeah, this
Metropole.
was
Yeah.
the abbreviation was like MMFA. Uh
Oh. MFA.
so it's like,
Okay.
mfa, mfa. I don't know. Yeah.
I love it.
And so they pull on these like black ski masks over their faces, and they're about to commit what is described as the largest art heist in Canadian history. I don't think it's been beaten.
Damn.
So it still holds the record, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Holy shit. Yeah, I didn't think they
Yeah.
had like an art heist. Like,
No, right?
we'd heard
It's very
about.
like Gardner Museum, which I was like, ooh,
Right?
I love a heist. Now I'm doing a second museum. Like
Yeah.
so the building was once established by Montreal's elite upper class, and the museum was described to have at this point like fallen into some financial hardship in the 10 years leading up,
Oh, okay.
and it was kind of behind on some upgrades. The security system wasn't really up to where it kind of should be at that time, so there was some weaknesses that definitely contributed to the robbery for sure.
Oh no.
Yeah, not great.
Okay. I mean,
Labor Day.
security systems wouldn't have been that great then either. I wouldn't
Yeah,
imagine.
exactly. Um, so on Labor Day weekend, I guess many of the museum's top officials were actually away on holidays, including the actual head of security. So I think it was kind of like the museum spokesperson, which was basically like a journalist, was kind of
Oh.
like the top seniority person involved with the museum that was like available to call during Labor Day
Oh.
weekend. Yeah, I think they
Okay.
were kind of consultant like museum, but they weren't. didn't seem like they were officially like part of the museum, but they would be the top person to call if something happened.
Sure, so it's like
So
bare bones staff because of the holiday.
yeah. And I
Skeleton
mean
crew.
it's overnight, so like you're not expecting
Mm,
too much to happen.
you're
Uh
hoping.
yeah, so outside of the museum, these three men meet. They have their ski masks now. One of the men puts on what's described as like lumberjack or linesman spikes. So, kind of what they use to scale those telephone poles, or like lumberjacks use. It's like on their shoes, it's like a spike that like they
Okay.
can like kick into the tree on the sides of their feet, kind of thing.
Oh, like when you're hiking and you put on the crampons.
Yeah, these are kind of like crazy spikes that they can like kind of kick their foot in and it'll like go
Yeah.
into the tree, the spike will, and then they can stand. So he puts this kind of thing on and ends
Mm.
up climbing up one of the trees that is growing beside the uh, building of the museum. It's like a really tall, spindly tree, and he ends up scaling the tree.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Damn.
yeah, pretty cool. I thought at
Yeah.
least. He once he gets to the top of the tree, he jumps onto the museum roof where he ends up lowering a construction ladder for the other two men that are waiting about 3 stories below. So the other two men get on the
Okay.
roof by this ladder because the part of the construction was the skylight was being like done. That's why it's called the skylight caper. So they did have
Mm.
construction materials, and like this ladder was already on the roof. They didn't bring it, so
Oh, wow,
yeah,
that's smart of them to just incorporate it.
yeah,
Huh.
yeah. Maybe a little bit of insider stuff. We don't know because again, it's unsolved. So
Right, they obviously must have been observing, which you should be
at
casing a
least
place if you're gonna
observing.
be
Yeah,
robbing it. But yeah,
definitely at
but
least
why
observing.
not? Hmm.
Yeah. So once all three men are on the roof, dragging Gordo away from.
And Gordo's off the table.
Okay, Gordo, no. Just lay down, buddy.
It's the
Fuck.
it's the meows of protest that really get me. It's so funny.
Uh, buddy. So yeah, so now all three are on the roof, and they go
Sorry.
to the skylight, which is under repair, and one of the panes of
Oh
glass has
yeah.
been replaced very shoddily by like a piece of plastic. Like a plastic
Oh
sheet has been taped over where the skylight should be, and they're like, security? Never heard of it. Uh,
well,
tape and
yeah.
plastic, and like,
I mean,
that'll
yeah, on
work.
your shitty car window that you can't get replaced, yeah. But like on a museum with fine art involved, like, yeah, maybe fix that a
Yeah,
little sooner.
and they said it had been like at least a month or so, like that they had been replacing this plastic while they were doing construction on the, so
Wow.
it had been a while. It wasn't like a day or two, like it had been a while that this plastic
Yeah.
was being used. uh and because of that,
Great.
they had actually, there was supposed to be an alarm, I guess, on the skylight, and it seemed like that alarm was actually disabled, um because during the construction, like, it wasn't properly sealed, so they couldn't have the alarm active when they were doing their
Right.
construction,
Yeah, just like
because of the
blaring
plastic.
constantly.
Probably, yeah. So they had disabled that alarm completely while it was undergoing maintenance. So another point in the
It's
robber's favor.
oh yeah, yeah. This is setting up to be a perfect storm of
Yeah.
circumstances.
Yeah, so they go into this area, they peel the plastic sheeting and tape off. I don't know. And they drop a rope like down about 15 meters or 3 stories down into the gallery below, and they basically just like drop down the rope and slide down it, and then they're in the museum. Easy,
Dun, dun,
easy as
dun,
that.
dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun. They're lowering down Mission Impossible
Mission
style.
Impossible, yeah.
Can't touch the floor. No.
Once inside, the three men began looting the museum, up until it seems that they encountered one of the guards kind of walking around.
Oh, they still have
And
those though.
yeah, they do have guards. They ordered this gentleman to the floor, and when he didn't comply, It seems at least two of the men fired shotgun like blasts into the ceiling. So like they they shot at the ceiling and the guard
Okay,
ended
to
up
scare
dropping
them.
to the ground like just to scare him.
Sure.
Uh so the one guard's on the ground, and having heard the shots, two other security guards came like to rush to his aid and find out what was going on, and they too were ordered to like get down on the ground.
Get down on the ground. Sorry.
Yeah. Uh Once all three guards were in the area, they were bound and gagged and then left in the museum's lecture hall with one of the robbers standing guard over them with one of the guns.
That also feels very Gardner nice.
Yeah,
Just
they left
gonna
those
set you
guys.
guys over here.
They were like handcuffed up in the basement, I think, or something like that, if I remember right.
Right.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
it has. That was, what, episode 8? Also a really long time ago.
Yes. Also a pretty long episode, I must have
It was. This will
add.
be much shorter. This will be much shorter. I promise.
Yeah. Mine's not too bad either. But if
Uh,
it's good, I'm sure people appreciate it.
yeah, I thought this was kind of fun. After about
Yeah.
30 minutes, it seems like or I think they were using one of the guards' keys, and
Hmm.
it took them about 30 more minutes, and they entered the garage where the museum's panel truck was located. So that must be like how they transport. They're kind of like a white panel van the museum had. So they were
Right.
planning to use this to transport whatever they were stealing, like away from the scene. They were going to take this van, but when they went into the garage, something they touched, some side door or whatever, set off an alarm, and it's kind of spooked them. Uh,
Oh,
and
they weren't
at
expecting that.
No, not really. At this point, the men had already stacked a number of paintings by the truck, but now with the alarm going off, they were quickly running out of time and ended up just taking off on foot to a nearby car, which I'm not sure if it was the one that they arrived to the scene or like the area in, or if they like stole the car.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't it? They ended up leaving basically with only what they could carry, and they left about 20 items behind, stacked beside the truck that they were planning on taking. So,
Okay. Well, maybe if they had
yeah.
stopped long enough to get the truck going, they would have been caught.
Yeah, but with the alarm, I guess they were too
Yeah.
worried,
Oh,
so they
for
kind of
sure.
abandoned that, but they still got away with a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Um, about an hour after the robbers seemed to have left, one of the guards was finally able to untie himself, and he called this Bill Banty, who was the only senior museum official who was not on vacation that weekend. Uh, and
Oh, he called. Okay.
yeah, he's kind of like the reporter liaison type guy. He told the
Okay.
guards, obviously, to call the police, and then he went to the museum as well to kind of meet the police there.
Okay.
I'm surprised the guards weren't like, I'm gonna call the police right away. Be like, I need to talk to somebody. That's what I'd be doing. I'd be
Yeah.
calling the police first, maybe.
It's usually should be your first call in most of these situations. If not, it's a little sketch sometimes because you're like, why did you call your lawyer first or whatever?
Yeah. So for the items taken, they did get away with a lot in there, like seems to be about 30 minutes that they were in the museum altogether, like very quick. What they
Okay.
took included 39 pieces of antique jewelry, figurines, and then 18 paintings worth about $2 million at the time. I don't know if that's
Dang.
just the total of the paintings or everything altogether,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, it seems to
Well,
be just the paintings. It's about $2 million.
sure. Makes
Uh,
sense.
Among one of the paintings was a rare Rembrandt landscape worth itself about $1 million. So, yeah.
Okay. That'll drive it
Um,
up.
yeah, definitely.
But like, what are you
Um,
gonna get for that on the black market? You gotta wonder. Because,
yeah, that's kind of where officials were like, "What? This is a little weird."
Yeah,
Uh,
because someone's got to buy it and they got to know it's hot. It's been stored.
yeah. So there was a couple pictures. There is Lant. I love these picture names because they're definitely not, I'd say, what the painter wanted these paintings to be named of, because they're basically just descriptions. Uh,
Uh-huh.
the first one is landscape with vehicles and cattle, because that's what you want to name a painting, right? Landscape with vehicles and
Oh.
cattle. And
That maybe they're only creative with the paintbrush and not so much with their
fuck,
words.
maybe these are awful. Landscape with buildings and wagon. Love it. That's
Yeah,
my
that
favorite.
kind of sounds like a description just of what it depicts.
Yeah, like some AI, you're just like, describe this. And they're like, landscape, building, wagon. And you're
Yeah.
like, okay, great, let's name it that.
I guess, but I don't know. I suppose does every painting have a fancy name? I don't know.
Uh,
Oh,
the So those were both by Bruel the Elder. Uh,
damn. Okay. Never
yeah.
heard of it.
There's also The Dreaming Woman at the Fountain. Now that's a little bit better of a name, by Jean Baptiste Camille Caro, I think.
All right.
Um,
Still descriptive.
this one, this one's also very descriptive. Young girl leaning on her left arm. Great, thank you.
Oh.
Uh,
He was so inspired. He just had to paint this one young girl, this nameless girl leaning on her left arm.
yeah, not the right. He doesn't like people on the right hand.
Maybe he knew
uh,
her name. We don't know.
yeah,
Oh
fuck
my
yeah.
god.
Some of these are crazy. And that was by I think Caro as well. There's Landscape with Rocks and Stream by Gustave Courbet. Uh,
Oh.
there is one that's just called Head. But just
What?
Head
Stealth click?
by
No.
Honor Dumer. Probably.
Sure.
This one's a little better. Lioness and Lion in a Cave by Eugene Delacroix.
Ooh.
Delacroix. I like this one, The Sorceress. Uh,
Oh.
yeah.
I want to look up some of these.
I think at first I wasn't able to, but I think one of the pictures I did end up finding has all of the paintings at least.
Mm.
So
Okay,
yeah,
so I could look on the
they're
drafts.
okay. Like I don't think any of them are super like crazy. But
Sure.
yeah, so the
Oh,
sorceress is like, I didn't look up how to pronounce anything, so it's like just winging all these crazy names. It's like Narcase, Virgilio Diaz. Uh, there's Portrait
what?
of Brigadier General Sir Thomas Fletcher by Thomas Gainsborough. A picture called Still Life, Vinitas, by Jan David Steheim. Still Life with a Fish, also by Deheem.
Good old
There's Young
Dahim.
Women. Deheem. There's Young Woman Churning. She's churning like butter or something. I don't know. It's just Young Woman Churning.
Hot.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to find them.
By
Oh my
Jean
god.
Francois Millet, or maybe Jean Francois Millet. There's Portrait of Madame Millet by Millet. Portrait of a Man, possibly a self-portrait, it says, by Giovanni Battista Piazzetta. Uh,
One guy in his little waistcoat almost looks like he has no pants on.
I
Is
gotta look at this again. I only looked at it quickly, and I was like, "Ooh, I think this is all the pictures," and then I just saved it and put it on the drive.
well, there
Oh
is a
yes, I can
lion
tell which one. I can tell
and there
which one.
is a girl. There is a girl leaning on her right arm, it looks like. I don't know. Now I can't remember which one you said.
I
But
said
yes, that one.
left. He lies.
I'm so
Where's the woman
confused.
churning? Where's the lady churning?
I don't see a woman churning in this one.
Huh.
Yeah, it's just a.
Nothing. Lies. Uh,
It's got like what, seven of them? And yeah, the one guy just looks like he's wearing like those like beige like skin
he
pants
must
that match
be.
your skin tone. We'll say that.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Um. Oh, this must be one of the fancy expensive one. It's landscape with cottages. That's by Rembrandt.
Ooh, a
That must be
Rembrandt.
the
I've heard of
expensive
him.
one. There's head of a young man.
Cottesmore. Head of
Yeah,
a young
cottage.
man. Sounds like you
Peter
beheaded
Paul
someone.
Rubens. Uh, there's Portrait of a Lady by Francois Andre Vincent, and Portrait of a Man also by Vincent. So those are like the paintings. I don't think that's 18 of them. Maybe it is. I didn't count. I didn't feel like counting, so. But
It was a lot.
yeah. And then they didn't really go into details about like the figurines or like the jewelry too much. I only found one
Mm.
description of one of the items out of like 39 jewelry items that were taken. So
Aw, that's my
yeah.
favorite.
Um, but Bill Bantley, so the one that they did call, he said, quote, they were discriminating thieves and had a fairly good idea of what they were looking for. And
Okay.
then that's what he said. He was described as like museum spokesman, and other things said he was like um yeah, he like worked for the museum, and then other things said he was a journalist. So uh
Odd,
yeah.
but in some
There was
capacity, he worked there or was.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was also quotes from Ruth Jackson, a longtime museum curator, who also was like called to the museum that night, it seems. And it was now a crime scene. She later describes what she saw, saying there was a sea of broken frames and backings and smashed showcases. Upstairs in the room where the major theft took place, it was just devastation. They cleaned it out completely. For the second pile, they'd got around selecting from various rooms. I shudder when I think what might have been had they hadn't opened that door, uh, like that set the alarm off. With what they proposed to
Right.
remove, if they'd been undisturbed, it was it was just like they meant a general clear out of the museum. So she thinks they would
Hmm.
have taken like almost everything had that alarm never been triggered.
Right. They just start
So
loading up that truck
yeah,
and
because like
till it
they
was
took
full.
what they had the 18 pictures they got away with, 39 pieces of jewelry, and
Right.
then another 20 pictures that were beside the truck. And that only took them half an hour to like compile. So yeah,
Yeah.
like they could have cleaned it
That's
out.
a little different than the Gardner one. I feel like they were there for
Yeah.
like 3 hours. It was a little bit, it was a few
Yeah.
years earlier, wasn't it? But
Yeah, I think so. And
still.
they had motion detector things. They could tell like which rooms were triggered and like how often they went into each one, that kind of stuff. There
And they
was
like
nothing like that for
cut
this.
some of them, didn't they? They
Yeah,
were like,
they
oh,
did.
cut it out of its frame or whatever. You're
Yeah,
like,
like roll
okay.
some of them up, just destroy them to begin with.
Oh, it hurts me, and I'm not even that much of an art lover, so I'm just
Right? Yeah,
like it's like folding down a book page or something. It's like, how dare you?
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of like that happened. What we do know sort of about the suspects, I guess. Um a little bit's from the police reports from what I could get from a few different sources. Uh said that they saw the guards said that they saw two men who were described as having long hair, about 5'6" or so, wearing ski hoods and sports clothes. They kind of agreed that one of them spoke French and one of them spoke English. It seems that they didn't ever actually see the third robber, but that they did hear that other gentleman speak French. So, two of them speaking French, one speaking English, but one of them they
Okay.
didn't really ever see, which was kind of weird between the three robbers.
I wonder if they meant
Um,
the two had a thick French accent, because you would think that if two of them are speaking French, then the one guy that
right?
speaks English is going like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
because there's tons of us in Canada that are not fluent in fucking French.
Absolutely, myself included.
Right?
As you heard me butcher all of those names.
Oh
Uh,
no, I'm just saying. Like, I think a lot of Americans assume like half of us are French or something. We're like,
yeah,
no, like
definitely
how
not.
how much Spanish do you know? That's basically
Yeah,
what like most
exactly.
of us that didn't grow up, yeah, speaking French.
Um, it is kind of interesting that the Wednesday prior to the robbery at the Montreal Museum, there was a different art theft less than an hour
What?
away, just the week before. I don't get into it a lot,
Wait,
but
you said less than an hour away, so not at the same museum.
no, this is a different
Oh,
museum, but like the week before the robbery at the Montreal
oh,
Museum, there was a different robbery of an art museum, and it has
okay.
some similarities. This is August 30th, 1972. Three hooded armed men made off with a reported $50,000 in paintings from the Oka summer residence of Agnes Meldrum. Um,
Huh.
yeah. Oh, sorry. This isn't like a museum. I think this is just her house.
Oh,
Uh,
like a
oh
private
no, she,
collection.
yeah, she ran a successful trucking and storage business in Montreal. That's what it was. The robbers tied up the
Oh,
gardener, looted the place, and climbed down with what the Gazette, the newspaper, described as a 600-foot bluff to a waiting motorboat docked below on Lake of Two
whoa.
Mountains. Very like fucking Mission, or not Mission Impossible, Oceans, like an Oceans movie. They scaled this, like
I
climb down this
mean,
bluff
Mission
into
Impossible
a,
2. Everyone talking about how
yeah,
in the last movie when he does this, because he always does his own stunts. Much as I'm
yeah,
not a cruise fan really, but like he does jump his stupid motorcycle off onto this like moving train while he's like saying to his little guy in the chair like, "I you want me to do what now?"
yeah.
Like, the fuck? But that's
Um,
crazy. They like dropped off the side of a cliff into a boat.
yeah, like they scaled down it. Again, the
Hell.
two of the thieves involved were described as speaking French and the other speaking
Hmm.
English. At the time,
Oh.
after the Montreal theft happened the next week, the newspaper said that police noted the similarities between the two crimes and that they occurred less than an hour apart, like driving distance, and then just a week apart. But it
Right.
was later concluded that the thefts were unrelated. But I think it's kind of interesting because they like the ski masks, the robberies, it's art. Like
And
two
how
of them are
definitively
French,
can you
one's
say they're
English,
unrelated if you don't
one's
know who
unsolved.
committed this one?
I think both of them are unsolved. It's like, really?
Well, couldn't have been those guys because like we know for sure that we don't know who did it. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Um, so getting back to the Montreal Museum theft. A week into the investigation, police suspected a group of students who were
Hmm.
actually attending the nearby art school and that they may be involved. They had this group of students, I'm not sure how many, but they were followed for like 15 days. And
Oh.
obviously, this led to no arrests. It's kind of crazy. Some
They're like, well,
police,
they like art, so
yeah. Some police suspected that um the theft was the work of experienced international thieves. That was
Hmm.
another lead that kind of didn't pan out, and then another separate
Hmm.
suspicion was that the construction workers that were working on the museum at the time may have been involved, so they were also questioned, but no one again was arrested. Because they knew
Okay.
about like the skylight and that. But as you kind of said,
It's
like
true.
anybody even watching the place from even across the street, like would have noticed. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I
so
feel like, yeah, that's. You got to check them
Yeah.
out, but it's not necessarily going to be them. That'd be too obvious.
Yeah. Um, what is kind of interesting is that the robbers later actually tried to ransom the paintings back to the museum for like $500,000. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, so how you kind of said, like, how would you
okay.
sell it on the black market? I don't know if necessarily that's what
I
they ever
know.
intended to do, but
They
um,
kidnapped them.
yeah. So it's kind of funny, and this sort of backfires for them, I guess, a bit because the museum's like, yeah, we're not giving you $50,000 and like negotiates it down to $250,000. Uh, which I think is kind of baller. Like, if you say you have our
From
art, like,
oh, they
yeah,
negotiated them down from how much?
from
I
half
thought
a
you said
million dollars to a
oh
quarter of a
half.
million dollars.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay, to half that. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's just kind of funny because they're
yeah.
like, yeah, we'll give you back the paintings, give us half a million. The museum's like, we'll give you a quarter of a million.
Yeah,
It's like,
like we
don't you
don't
want the
know.
pictures back? Uh,
We don't
I don't know.
negotiate with terrorists. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny. Yeah, so they work it down to a quarter of a million dollars. They an envelope with pictures of the works in, or I think some of them in good condition, was actually a sent of, as they described as proof of life, to the
Oh my
museum
God.
to prove that they were dealing with the actual thieves. So the picture, I couldn't
Yeah.
find it, but the picture has like some of the paintings lined up, and it has a dock and all that stuff. So there was like a couple things they could figure out, like it's in the area. They could tell like those pictures are our paintings, and like they're all together in that. That's not a picture somebody could have ever like compiled together or
Oh, and it's
manipulated
on
to
a
look like that.
dock, like on the water,
Yeah,
like
like
a
in a
pier.
yeah, kind of like a pier, like shipping hold area, I guess.
Oh,
Um
weird.
they had spoken to one of the thieves on the phone, and they described him as having a European accent. So they think this might be the
Hmm.
English fellow they talked about. The port that they could read said
France
the,
is in Europe too.
yeah. But I think they meant like Canadian French when they were saying they spoke
I know,
French.
but I love when they're like a European accent. It's like, what does that mean? Like
I
Eastern
know.
European? Like, can you be more
No idea.
specific? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Um yeah, so the it did say in the picture like that it was taken at the port of Montreal. Like so that
Oh
must have been, you
wow.
know how they spray paint cement, like sometimes it'll say like port or whatever. I think that
Oh,
was like in with the picture. I don't know if that was intentional or not. So they knew like it
I'm
had been taken in
sure.
the area.
Yeah,
And
it might have said Montreal. Yeah.
yeah, the port of Montreal was known to have been used by local gangs and like different smuggling and that kind of stuff. So like, oh, maybe it's like gang related. But that also like kind of didn't pan out.
Doesn't seem like gangs' usual
Sometimes they
crimes.
do. Sometimes they deal
Yeah.
in art. Depends.
Weird.
Because
I mean, I
sometimes they
guess
just people just
criminals.
can't sell art on the black market. So they'll be like, this is
Hmm.
valued at 2 million, and they'll kind of be like, okay, I'll say it's worth $1 million. So they,
Hmm.
yeah. You normally don't get like the actual appraised value for it on the black
I'm
market or anything
sure.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so the museum director was directed by the robbers to a telephone booth near McGill University, where like after they did this thing, agreed to the money, they were directed to this phone booth at the university where a pendant that was stolen from the museum was actually recovered when they were told to look inside of a cigarette package that was near the phone booth. And that was one of the jewelry
Weird.
items that was stolen. So they gave the museum back like one of the jewelry items
Oh my God.
to
Is
like
that one of the
further proof because they're like, we want our
oh,
$250,000. So they kept being like, the
yeah.
museum basically kept being like, we don't believe you're actually the robbers, give us more proof. And then they kept being like, we'll
I
give you this.
wouldn't. I
And
mean,
you'd be
that's
like,
like what cops are
uh
supposed to do. Like, just
yeah,
because you say
it's
you're
so
the
funny.
killer, how the fuck do we know?
But it's funny because they keep doing it. They're like, we still don't really believe you're the robber. And then it's like, we'll give you this. And I'm like, could you send something else?
We're pretty sure
Fuck.
we had the heart of the ocean somewhere. Did you send that one?
It's
Yeah.
just funny because they keep giving them stuff, and then it's
Oh
like,
my
fuck.
god.
Clearly, you're dealing with the robbers. It's so funny, but they, yeah. Anyway, so the museum demands further proof, and the thieves end up sending police to a locker at the Montreal Central Railway Station, where they recover a painting
Ooh.
by Bruhal the Elder, which is actually now reattributed to belonging to the School of Bruhal. So must have been one of like his students or something that actually painted it. Not actually him.
Okay.
But at the time, it was believed to have been painted by him, and they left it in a locker at the Montreal Central Railway Station for the police to recover. To be like, oh, you're dealing with the robbers. It's true. It's
Like in
great.
a locker they left it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Um. After that, a meeting was arranged between the robbers and an insurance adjuster, who was actually an undercover police officer. And this was going to be an exchange for $5,000 for one of the stolen paintings. And this meeting ended up falling through when a squad car from a neighboring district that presumably didn't know about the exchange like drove by the site. I think like unintentionally, and it like freaked the robbers out, so they were no show. And
Oh.
yeah, later one of the
Yeah. You're like,
robbers
no
called.
popo. Yeah.
Yeah, later one of the robbers called and was very angry and said that they had been set up, which of course you were. Have you ever seen a movie? Uh
No
it's ridiculous.
cops. There will be cops there. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody you see will be cops. Much later, the chief police art investigator,
Oh.
Elaine Lacourcier, said that the meeting was probably futile and that the robbers agreed to it to cover up the fact that the art had probably and most likely believed by him already moved and sold in either Europe, Costa Rica, South
Mm.
America, or maybe elsewhere. So,
It'd probably be smart to get it off your hands as soon as you could. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
The exchange site where this like meeting was supposed to happen was actually a large open field in a fairly secluded area, and the thieves would have easily noticed police cars moving into position nearby had they like actually shown up and had the police tried to like arrest them. They probably would have very
Oh,
easily figured out what
okay.
was going on and presumably would have still been able to get away.
Damn.
The museum's insurance company ended up posting a like $50,000 reward that would lead to the arrest of the thieves or recovery of some of the art, but obviously this didn't happen. And eventually, the insurance companies agreed to pay out like this $1.9 million to the museum. So that must have been like what it was insured
Okay.
to. And then uh, in 1973, there was what was described as a wild goose chase, or I think this was supposed to say wild goose chase, but it says a wild good chase. Uh,
It was a good old time.
a wild good chase between an anonymous caller and an insurance agent that ended up costing the museum board of directors like $10,000 because it wasn't actually one of the robbers, but they kind of like fell along with it. There was also a separate time where they were
Oh,
supposed to be doing, I think, getting another one of the jewelry things or something back. And they went to one of their representatives went to like 11 different phone booths across the city in one day and then never ended up being able to recover anything because they kept being like, oh, leave our money like at this phone booth. And they get there and then they'd call the phone booth and be
what?
like, oh, actually, we mean this one. So it was like an entire day this guy drove to like 11 phone booths and then nothing came of it, which sucks.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the robbers were kind of just like jerking them along. Like, so it seems kind of more likely that, yeah, it was probably already out of the country at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Ugh, whenever they call a phone booth that someone's supposed to go to or happens to be randomly walking by, and it's always like,
It's so
what?
creepy. Who can
Yeah.
see me?
That was one of the main things in that show Person of Interest, if you ever watched it, where like the machine, like the great AI thing, would like call
Yeah.
the nearest phone booth to the people, and they'd be like, "Oh, okay, we have to go look up this number, which would correspond to a person that was, going to someone they had to save or something." It was
I think
interesting.
I watched a couple episodes and then I never really got into it, but I had heard it
Yeah,
was pretty good. A lot of
it's an
people liked
interesting
it.
concept.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Uh,
Anyway.
so I guess little for like update kind of stuff. The
Mhm.
Brewhell one that was reattributed, that was retrieved from the locker, and then the pendant from that was retrieved from the telephone booth were the only
Mm.
items ever recovered from the robbery.
Is the pendant the one you
And
saw a picture of? I want all the pictures of all the jewelry.
no, there was no pictures of any of the jewelry.
Oh, I thought you said you saw like one picture or something. Okay.
No.
Excuse me.
Um yeah, nothing other than those two were ever recovered, and experts believe that
Hmm.
the other items may have even been destroyed as they were too well
What?
known to have been sold at like public auctions. Obviously,
What?
other people hope that the works are still out there, if only for the fact that they may one day be recovered and like put back on display. So,
Damn. Can you imagine? What is the point if you
yeah.
can't sell it, so you have to destroy it? What a waste of beautiful creative art that someone put their time into.
One of the pictures I saved actually like came up, when it does like the suggested file name. The suggested file
Oh,
name was
yeah.
like they're hidden behind a wall somewhere. And I was like, weird.
No, that's the one. Yes, that's the one
Yeah.
was the caption for the one that has all the pictures on it. I was like,
I was
okay, it's
like,
this one. They're probably
oh.
behind a wall somewhere. That
I was like,
picture.
what a thing to name this file. They're behind a
Dash
wall
bunch
somewhere.
of numbers dot JPEG. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what?
You're like,
Yeah,
okay.
maybe they're boarded up in somebody's house.
You never know.
My last couple things in
Sad.
1992, there was a Montreal TV show that kind of ran through the robbery and talked about it. And they actually estimated the value of the items taken to be about $20 million. So, quite a lot.
Whoa.
Yeah. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
all together because I feel like that 2 million was just the art. So, this 20 million is probably more
Yeah.
accurate.
That would
Uh,
make sense. Yeah.
but everything always said $2 million. $2 million was taken. So, I don't really know.
Oh.
Um,
Okay, yeah, that's confusing.
yeah. A few years ago, that Alain Le Corsaire, that art investigator guy with the police, he actually received
Mhm.
an email with a video link from one of the students that he had followed and had suspected was involved in the robbery, like at the time.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
This student, uh shortly after graduating, actually, and like they thought this was weird at the time, had the funds to buy a house and a business, and they like
Oh,
couldn't quite
oh,
figure out why. The
as a
email,
starving student, they could afford to buy a house
yeah, yeah, they thought that
and a
was a little
business.
strange. The
Sure.
email appeared to be a tease as the video showed a car commercial highlighting Mercedes cars used in a bank heist that was set in Hong Kong. So yeah, some
Oh,
like weird car commercial where it's like a bank heist like car, but like one of the students that they investigated for the art robbery thought it would be appropriate to send this to the art investigator that had investigated him decades ago. Like,
that's
a
I
little
don't
weird.
get
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
There wasn't any more
Bizarre.
information about that, but it said like obviously the student they determined like wasn't involved, but still a little weird.
Sure. Family
Um
money.
yeah. The stolen works, if they still exist, are technically now the property of like these various insurance companies because they have paid out the museum. So like technically the insurance companies now own the art.
Okay.
And yeah, there is supposedly a substantial reward that still exists for information or for their return, but I couldn't find anything that said what the reward was. So yeah.
That's the way a good reward works. You don't know
Yeah,
until
right?
you tip them off. Here's
Here's
your
a coupon.
$5. Yeah.
Yeah. A coupon
Oh,
for
thanks.
admittance to the Montreal Museum of Art for the rest of your life. It's priceless.
10% off their gift shop.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the Skylight Caper that happened here in
What?
Canada.
What
It's
the
kind of
hell?
crazy. I had never heard of this. I thought it was pretty interesting.
No. No, the only robberies you hear about here is the maple syrup heist because people go,
Yeah.
Canada, maple syrup. But I mean, it was a pretty good one too, where they were like, what,
Yeah.
filling up the barrels back with water so they wouldn't know they were stealing it. It's like, yeah, okay. But like,
Yeah,
yeah,
something
this is
like
also
that.
very like 7-Eleven? No, Ocean's 11. I was gonna say Ocean's
Yeah.
7-Eleven. That's what they call Logan Lucky.
Yeah.
Which is also a good
Uh
heist movie if y'all haven't seen it.
yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah. Oh man, that was
Yeah.
a good story. I didn't.
Thanks. I had fun looking it up. There was
Yeah.
a
I
lot,
thought it
like
was
with
gonna
the
be a
different
train
anniversaries.
robbery. When you said robbery, I
Oh,
just
that's
thought
why I'm
train
like, if I
robbery.
tell her I'm covering the Skylight Caper, then it gives away that there's a Skylight and Caper. It's a heist. So I was like, what
That's
do I?
true.
And then I couldn't be like, it's a museum robbery, because then so then I was like, it's a robbery, and that's all I can really say. I was like,
Right? And it's like I don't want to be spoiled. We just need to know that we're not covering the same thing.
yeah, that's I'm like,
Yeah.
I hope you didn't run across it.
No. No, not
Yeah.
at all. The only robbery I came across was like a convenience store where
Oh,
the
okay.
owner got killed, and so I thought, oh no, it
Oh
might be an
shoot.
unsolved homicide that has to do with that. That's why when I said there's no murder, I was like, oh no, wait, maybe there is.
And I'm like, nope, there isn't.
I
It's
was like,
just all
whew. Yeah.
yeah, and you're like, this episode could be dark, and I was like, mine won't be. It's not bad. Yeah, me
Yeah.
nicely balanced for you guys then. But
Yeah, yeah. Mine's definitely a little bit more sad, but we'll take a quick
yeah.
break and hear from our Darkcast Network friends, and we'll be right back.
Ooh, nice.
um, Welcome back to where I misremember who directed the thing, which I'm gonna go watch once we're done recording here. It's Sunday night, and we sometimes try to watch family movies together on Sunday night. Otherwise, we probably won't see Rain all come out of her room all weekend sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the way she goes. Yeah, well, at least it was really nice out today. We were just saying, which was cool, and I hung out outside a little bit, and then was like, okay, now I have to finish my notes.
Yeah.
Leave it till the last minute, right?
I was stuck at work all weekend, so
Oh,
I
they were asking
yeah.
to come in extra this weekend because they basically changed our cutoff date for when we have to have all the auto renewals done for all the plate registrations for the month. Instead of it being like the 24th, 25th, they're like, said it's going to be like the 15th to the 15th and starting now. And so, like, make sure you guys get all
Oh.
processed. And then they're like, does anybody want to come in extra on the weekend? And I was thinking, like, maybe some people do, but some of us have lives.
Yeah.
And like
I
a
mean,
couple people were like, I can come in like 8 to 6, and I was like, are you for real? Like on the weekend? Like, bro.
yeah, like unless they're gonna pay me a crazy bonus or something, you're just gonna get a
Right?
pat on the back and like yeah, thanks for coming in.
You get they do the bank time. If you remember, they would
Yeah.
so you like you're like, okay, I worked an extra hour so I could like maybe leave an hour early some other day. But it's like, no,
That's not worth it.
not worth it to me. Not, I need my weekends.
Yeah.
We have shit we gotta do. Podcast to record.
Yeah.
Like, ugh. Anyway, this one is fairly famous. I don't know. In the true crime realm, I guess in Canada you could say. And by that I mean now that I've listened to true crime podcasts for a while, I've heard of it. at least once. But
Okay.
doesn't
When
mean that
you
everybody's going to know it at all.
Yeah, when you told me the name, when we were making sure we weren't doing the same ones, I had run across the name when I started looking up cases, but I didn't read a whole lot on it because
And
I
I asked
settled on mine
Pat.
fairly quickly. So
Okay. I had a short list as always where I was like, well, that's cool. I don't really want to talk about that. And I
yeah.
almost briefly tried to fit in covering something that's called the Alberta naked kidnappings because I thought that would be
What?
fun.
Yeah, that sounds intriguing.
But there's not a lot on it.
Uh,
And eventually I realized I was like, I can't do both. I need to focus. But
Fair enough.
um yeah, that one was on the Canadian True Crime podcast. So it is out there if people want to listen to it, but maybe I could talk about it briefly. Nobody dies in that one. They're just some
Okay.
people get in a weird headspace and then end up naked in a car with some of their neighbors. It's a little bizarre, but you brought the light stuff this week, so I'm going to come in with the
Yeah, we switched it up.
yeah, I know sometimes yours can be kind of dark. That's true. But with true crime, it's
Yeah.
difficult to find anything that's not. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
very
But
true.
yeah, I guess trigger warning for like, well, I guess kind of as I joked about earlier, child harm, child murder, that kind of,
Okay.
yeah, not very fun, but pretty important case I think we should all know about. I think I was starting to say I asked Pat if he had heard of it because it is takes place in British Columbia where he's from, but he hadn't. So
Okay.
we're just gonna be one of the people to do our part and spread the word, I guess.
Yeah.
It's really fucking old though, so you'll see. Um, it begins on January 14th of 1953, actually.
Okay,
So
yeah. It's pretty old.
yeah, a couple decades older than yours, but we both went back.
Yeah, we
um,
did.
I know it can be fun sometimes, but it starts in Stanley Park. So have you ever been there? It's in Vancouver.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I don't think so.
Okay, well, it's like, so Vancouver's a pretty big city, so just like picture something like Central Park in the middle of like New York, where it's like
Yeah,
big
nice.
city, but it's a nice big park um on the water there. I have a little bit, they talked about a little bit of the Stanley Park's history and stuff when I was listening to an episode of Dark Poutine, Dark Poutine as they say it, but I always have to pronounce it the the way I heard it. Um, it's a pretty cool place though, like because it's in Vancouver, right? So most even Americans will have heard of Vancouver. That's
Yeah.
where we do a lot of the filming, and where
Vancouver and
Ryan
Toronto. It's like the
Reynolds lives.
two
Yeah,
only cities that Americans
right.
know.
And yeah. Oh, I had a fun time commenting on someone's podcast the other day when they talked about their two truths and a lie was about farts. It was on Laugh Larcenies, one of their
Nice.
latest episodes, and one of the things she used for the two truths and a lie was like, and they got into a fight about using the word fart in a Canadian Parliament session or something, and I was like, well, that sounds true. They like sound like toddlers, you know what I mean? Like that's like where all the government people get to argue. And basically the thing they said, and it was true, and what they said was a member of parliament came up and said something like, why are we treating Alberta like it's a fart in the room? And I
Nice.
like laughed out loud. And then she was like, wow, it really sounds like they're sticking up for this Alberta person, the American, podcast host. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, no, you guys. I commented on the Good Pods. I was like, that was so funny. I was like, but Alberta's a province, not a person.
There are
And it's
people
also
named
where I
Alberta,
live.
though. It is also a
That's
name.
true.
It not
That's
very
true.
common, but there are a few people named Alberta.
No, you're right. You're
So
right. To be fair,
fair,
I
yeah.
shouldn't just, I'm not just making
But
fun
that's
as
still
if I
funny.
didn't know. But yeah, it was pretty funny. Anyway. Okay, yes, I have to start off with a little humor and a little history. Um, the Stanley Park sits on, so yeah, it's in British Columbia, which is the province just to the west of us. Um, and it sits on land that traditionally belongs to the Coast Salish people. And it's really old. It was opened in 1888, so
Oh,
100
wow.
years before my birth. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, and I should have been able to guess, but it's named for that same Lord Stanley that the Stanley Cup is named after.
I was
Lord
gonna
Stanley of the
say,
Cup. Yeah. Yep. It's like 405 hectares, so yeah, it's really big. And obviously, it's where everybody from Vancouver, which is a big bustling city, gets to go and get their exercise and get out and play. But yeah, over the years, it's been like a protector of Vancouver's port, which gave it like a military reserve designation. And then there's this place called Dead Man's Island just off or to the south of Stanley Park, where there's like a naval ship, the HMCS Discovery, that sits on Dead Man's Island, which has been a battle site, a native tree burial cemetery, and a smallpox and squatter settlement.
oh,
Yeah, I think
lovely
I'd heard of.
history.
I know. I think I'd heard of Dead Man's Island, or maybe just in relation to this case.
I'm
But
like,
yeah, it
that's
sounds
where
kind of
the
interesting.
lepers go. Like,
Yeah, and the native tree burial cemetery. I think that's where they like. Have you ever heard of some tribes that instead of burying underground, they put the bodies up in a tree to like
oh,
decompose up there? And
I hadn't heard of that.
I think they do. Yeah, I've heard of it once or twice. So I think that's what they mean there.
Hmm.
But it's yeah, it's different. um So yeah, that's a little bit of the history and stuff of like Stanley Park. And I've been there once on a travel agent trip, and we got to eat at a nice restaurant that was there. That's oh,
Oh,
then
cool.
we also had to do a bike tour, and then like immediately after, like there was like a biking
Oh,
tour of like Vancouver, and I think maybe into Stanley Park or something. Or
right
maybe this
after
was the
you
other way
ate.
around. Well, whenever we did the bike tour, I just remember they scheduled like a hotel inspection, like right after, where you go and like check out a hotel, and they tell you about like why the hell your clients should book it, and like we were all like sweaty with like helmet head right after.
Gross.
I know, I was like, oh, that was fun on the itinerary, but also just biking around in a city is not for me.
No, especially like Vancouver. It's a lot of like
Yeah,
cement and sidewalks and
right.
pedestrians because public transportation's a lot better in Vancouver. So a lot of
It
people don't
was, yeah.
drive. So
Yes,
there's
there
a
was a lot of
lot.
bike paths. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of like congestion, like pedestrian
Yeah.
wise and that kind of stuff. So like biking
You
within the city, I feel like would be a nightmare.
in a big group. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
different.
jeez.
Okay, so yes, we're back in 1953 where a Stanley Park employee was like working on clearing away some of the woods area near I think it was called Beaver Lake because it's like so big that it's got little like lake and pond areas and stuff.
Aw, cute.
It's so huge. And on he stumbled upon some bones by stepping on them.
Oh,
He
okay.
steps onto what looks like leaves and he hears a snapping sound, and then brushing that away, he can see there's fragments of bones, and they're small bones.
Damn.
Yeah, so they literally stumbled upon them. And from what I heard, he was a little scared of the cops. This person that found them, the park employee. I can't remember why exactly they said that. He may have been an Asian immigrant or something that just didn't have good experiences with the cops, and so he waited until
Fair.
morning, and then yeah, and then he told whomever, I guess his bosses or the authorities, and they were called. Um, So yeah, although cops and stuff were alerted, they called in like basically just a doctor and not a forensic pathologist, which may or may
Is
not have been a
this,
thing at the
are
time.
these bones? Is this person still alive?
What is this? Do you have a dentist?
Damn.
No, but just I don't know, for whatever reason, like resources or whatever, they just called in a doctor who tentatively said it was the bones of a young boy and girl. Sorry
Oh,
if it's
okay.
loud again. um, my door is closed. Yeah, it was probably a young boy and girl, maybe from the ages of 5 to 7, and the other one from 7 to 9 years of age.
Wow.
But it's kind of, I think, from kind of his cursory glance or investigation, right? Like it wasn't like they could do a full autopsy because they were
Yeah.
older. Yeah, the remains. And this led police down the path of looking for two missing children. They were possibly missing for the last 5 or 6 years at this time. And they basically had to judge by like the layers of leaf cover over the bodies, like how many years it had been, I
Oh,
guess.
really? That's kind of
So
interesting.
it's sad. I mean, it was the 50s, so I don't know what other method they would normally use now, but yeah, they were covered. They were also covered by a woman's fur collared coat. Like they were laid basically end to end beside each other, covered over with this coat. Um,
Oh.
yeah, which is a little odd. And they're little. Oh, they said that their little skulls still had their little aviation hats on them with the goggles on them, which were the style at the time because it was just after the war. So they would all wear like these little
Oh.
caps that looked like you were like a little pilot or something, like with the little
That's
goggles.
cute. I think I've seen that before.
I thought at first when they said aviation hats that they meant like the little weird striped ones with like the propeller things on top, but no.
Oh. Yeah.
It was yeah, it was more like
I can't remember what they call those.
I don't know, but it's more like the leather ones that like yeah, like
Yeah.
goggles and like you were actually like a pilot
That's a
or whatever.
look.
Oh my god, it sounds so cute. Yeah, they were found still covered in like scraps of their clothing that remained. Nearby lay a lunchbox and a woman's penny loafer, size 7.5, and a hatchet.
Damn.
Yeah, so that was most likely the murder weapon. Um,
Still? I'm kind of
mhm,
surprised that's like
mhm.
it's like 5 to 6 years later and like the stuff is still here.
Undisturbed. And that's I'm
Yeah.
trying to paint the picture of how big the area was, how they'd have like wooded areas and like ponds and like paths and stuff, but then like more secluded areas too, like this one.
Yeah.
Um,
Huh.
so now they're taking in like the police are getting any tips they can, asking the public, they're chasing down leads and enlisting all the help they can get. They're trying to identify these children based on like the little evidence they have. They had
Yeah.
these plaster casts made to try and reconstruct their facial features.
Hmm.
I think there was like maybe a couple pictures of what that looked like, but um, there's not really any ones that you like, I don't know, really need to see, I guess. There's just, yeah. Just like the wooded area where they were found. But yeah, they kept coming back to square one. They don't know who the kids are. It's nearly impossible to go on when you have this little evidence, I feel like
Yeah.
they could see that they had obviously been killed with the hatchet. There seemed to be the blows to the skulls and the heads, but they did seem to be sort of softer or lighter in nature depressions in the skull, so they thought that the blows could have been delivered possibly by a woman because maybe not as strong
Okay.
or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah. More hesitant or something.
possibly. But the case went cold, as
Damn.
they do, and I mean, like, they had like nothing. I don't really blame them. um
Yeah. It's the 50s. Like, I'm surprised how they investigated fucking anything.
right. I'm like, I still want to know, did you guys have forensic pathologists at the time? They just didn't have any there. And like, what else could we have maybe learned? But anyway, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
As cold cases do, sometimes it got picked up again by someone who just couldn't put it down. This was after the RCMP formed a special investigative. Is that how you say that?
I think so. It's a weird word.
Yeah. Unit with Vancouver Police, and one man would lead the team, and his name was Detective Sergeant Brian Honeyburn.
Oh.
I know. He became head of the Provincial Unsolved Homicide Unit, which reopened the case, or basically he reopened the case. They're like, "You're head of this unit. What case do you want to work on?" And he was like, "This one." Blows the dust off it. Like,
Yeah, child murders.
yeah, and this was actually them reopening it like almost 50 years after it had happened. So this was in 1996.
Wow.
Yeah, your mouth just
Damn.
fell open.
I thought it was like you were gonna say like, oh, it's been a cold case for like 10 years. It's like, no, it's already been 50 years.
It was so long, Kelsey.
Wow.
Oh my
That's
God.
wild.
Yeah, unsolved. Still unsolved. But we'll have some answers.
Okay.
Okay.
It's nice.
I'm just gonna take a sip of I bought this lovely THC drink the other day at the store.
Ooh. Product placement.
Right. And I said, oh, I don't try a lot of the drinks sometimes. I'll go buy like the little vape things or extra weed if we need it. But they're like, yeah, this one's got what the fuck did they call it? Oh, not CBD, but CBG in it. I go, what the fuck is CBG? They're like,
Oh my God.
we just say it stands for giggles. And I was like, okay.
Huh.
It tastes like cream soda. It's delicious.
Ooh, nice.
Like,
I haven't tried
yeah.
any of the drinks, but anytime I tried the food,
Oh,
nothing
yes.
happened. So I don't
know.
think like edibles do anything for me because I think last time I did it, I must have consumed almost like 40 to 50 grams like at once and absolutely nothing.
Nothing. No, Pat will often say the same thing where he's like, I don't
Yeah.
feel anything if I take any. And I know it's different because it is absorbed a different way when you're eating it, like consuming it, because it's like
Yeah.
fucking fat soluble or some shit. I don't know. But all I know is I drank one of these drinks the other day and I had a really sore neck and back and everything. And I drank one of these and had a couple tokes and I was like, I feel good.
Nice. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
try one of the drinks because I remember when we went to
Yeah.
Vegas, I bought those macarons. Each one of those was supposed to have like 10 grams or something in it. And I think I
Okay.
ate like at least 5 of them before we went to the haunted museum, the Zach Bagans one,
Okay.
because it was
Oh my
like our
God, the old
last.
8. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the last day. It was like, I don't know, just after we had breakfast or something. Or no, because we didn't end up having lunch that day. So it was like
No, all
a
we ate
few
was
hours. That
breakfast.
was kind of like our lunch because we were going to hit up that or something. And then.
I remember trying those and they were so cute
Yeah.
and like sparkly and stuff, but I'm like, I don't know.
I felt
They definitely had some
nothing.
in them, but could it have been 10 grams each? That seems like a lot. But I never know. I never know with
Yeah,
edibles.
because.
They're so
And then I've bought
confusing.
some chocolate like from the stores, and like each bar is supposed to have 10 grams, and like nothing.
Yes, I bought chocolates before and also felt like I didn't really feel anything. And then I hear stories of people being like, my friend gave me this gummy that was supposed to have like 0.5 grams and I didn't feel anything, so I took another one. And I was like, don't ever just like be like, I don't feel like
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel anything and take another one, because like that's what you do with like pills and stuff too. And then you go, oh fuck, I'm super high. You're like, yeah, no, just be
Oh, I
careful.
did that when I was sick a couple of years ago. I took cold medication and then I took a
Oh
couple
no.
Tylenol and I went to work and I was at work and I was like, I feel like I'm floating. And I think one of my coworkers, I was like, I am 100% high right now and I should not be making decisions at work.
And you're like, I drove here. Woo!
Yeah, yeah, and I was like, I'm unintentionally, this was an accident, and I don't feel good.
Oh no.
I
See, people
don't
that
want to
take
be at
like,
work right now.
oh, you hear stories or like whatever, people take sleeping meds or something and they like don't go to
Yeah.
sleep. There was one episode of Modern Family where Mitch and Cam take something and they to get to sleep on the plane, and then they're like they have to get off the plane. They're trying to make their connection and they're so fucked up. They don't even remember their daughter's name. They're like, Lucy, we're coming for you. So
Yeah.
stupid.
I was like
Yeah.
walking and I was like, I can't feel that I'm walking, but I'm moving.
Oh my god.
I'm
You're
like,
like
I'm moving
floating
from
above
place
your
to
body.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It was and it lasted probably at least the first couple hours after I got to work. And it was
Oh
and then I
my
think I ate
god.
lunch and then I was like, I feel better now. But I was like,
Oh
that
my
was
god.
too much. So, yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
that was just like
funny.
stupid I think it was like Dayquil and then like a couple Tylenol or something cuz
Oh yeah.
I had some and it wasn't even a full dose of the Dayquil, and then
Right.
like I still had like all the sore joint kind of soreness, that kind of stuff, and then I was like,
Oh
oh, I'm
yeah.
gonna take a couple Tylenol because that normally helps a little bit more with the joint pain and
Oh yeah.
that kind of stuff, and then it was just like, whoo.
Well, even that, if you don't take a lot of painkillers, sometimes I don't know, I find I can take an ibuprofen or something, and then I'm like, oh yeah, now I feel good. You're like, maybe it's
Yeah,
placebo effect.
I was
um,
just so loopy. Anyway.
no, that's funny. Um, so yeah, it was a long time, brother, that it sat on the shelf. And at least part of the time, from most of what I heard, this the boys or the kids' skulls were on display at the Vancouver Police Museum. One source said it was
Oh,
replicas, but everything else made it sound like it was their actual bones, which kind of made me sad.
I hope
Um,
just replicas if they did that. Why be like, oh, let's be
right?
like, we couldn't solve this case. Here's child skulls.
Oh yeah,
Weird.
yeah, yeah. As if that's gonna get any leads.
Yeah.
um, yeah. So the rest were like in a cardboard box in the cold case area. So this Honeyburn guy, he had a tooth extracted from each of the skulls for DNA testing purposes.
Okay,
Like
good.
basically, he took what he needed, and then he decided to give the rest of their remains a better resting place, which I thought was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had the rest of the bones cremated and released the ashes into the sea in a small ceremony. Um, and actually, I remember he was talking on the podcast I was listening to, the Cold Case Canada podcast, and he said the crematorium people, like, nobody really wanted to do it because there were bones mixed together of two people, which is typically not something I guess they
Okay.
sanction or whatever. But he explained the situation was like, I'm just trying to give them a better burial than being left in this park. And so the crematorium was
Yeah.
like, fine, just don't like say where you got it done. And he was like, okay. And
Huh.
they did it. Yeah. Um, so eventually the teeth, and I'm sorry, I tried to get the timelines more down on this one, but it does span a long time. I think the teeth were sent to be taken for DNA testing not until like 2021. I don't
Oh, really? That's like 30 years later.
know.
Oh,
Okay, I know they don't like discover exactly who they are until like 2022. It's a fucking long case.
damn.
Oh yeah. It's like for so many decades, all the cops wanted to do was they said they wanted to give the babes in the woods their names back because they didn't know who they were. They didn't think they were going to get an arrest after all
Yeah.
the time, but
No, the perpetrator even most likely is dead.
mhm.
The children would be like 80.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but the teeth were sent to a doctor suite at UBC who specialized in forensic dentistry. And they
Oh.
described like sort of a complex process that involves like crushing the bones and then extracting the DNA from the pulverized bone, which I was like, okay.
Oh, I think I've
But
heard of that before.
yeah, it's like it's difficult to get DNA from it because it's so old or something, so they have to do it in a
Yeah.
special way. Um, and then he called Detective Brian Honeyburn and said, "Are you sitting down? And you should be, because it's not a boy and a girl as you've been looking for all these years. It's two boys."
Okay.
So they'd been barking up the wrong tree all these years, and unfortunately ignoring leads that had witnesses talking about two boys to boot. Like on top of that, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because they didn't have a lot to go on. They had these like two skeletons. It's the 50s. They don't have DNA. They don't have shit all.
Yeah.
Um, so there was this one anecdote that, yeah, it was related to the cold case. Blah, 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 blah. I listened to the Cold Case Canada podcast, but she also had this website. The host did. Her name is Eve Lazarus, which amazing. But like, I guess after she first covered this on like her blog, a lady named Heather wrote in an email to tell a story about her mother, that her mother-in-law related to her, and this was about 10 years, I think, before the DNA had been tested on the boys. And
Okay.
this Heather's mother-in-law, and she had been pregnant in 1948, which was around when they were supposedly killed, and she'd been walking through Stanley Park. She saw a fur coat wearing woman and two boys in aviator hats. Um, she thought it kind of odd as the day was quite warm, so the woman seemed overdressed. And then
Okay.
later, I guess she saw the woman, sons, the boys, they were gone. Um,
Oh, shit.
yeah, and Heather urged the mother-in-law, who apparently was like sick on her deathbed or something, that she should tell the cops, but she didn't trust the cops.
Damn.
Sorry. So she sat on that information, and she wasn't confirmed until February of 2022, like 7 decades after they were found, when the boys finally got their names back, which, as I mentioned, was what the police were fighting for. All right,
Yeah.
let's get into it. So I have a quote here. Allie Brady, 26, was flicking through the family album one day when she discovered that she had two great uncles who she had never met. The older boy had blonde hair and blue eyes, and the younger had darker features. When Allie asked her grandmother Diane who they were, she found out they were Diane's younger brothers, David and Derek Busquet. Busquet? I don't know. So it said, or I learned that Allie was shocked because she had heard stories of their family's poverty and all these things in the days of her grandmother. So she thought she knew all the family secrets and all the, dark past and
But
bad
not the
days.
child murders.
But she'd never heard of these great ankles. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, so Allie's great grandmother, Eileen, apparently had told the family she'd had to give her two boys over to social services when she couldn't care for them any longer, um, due to the poverty,
Jesus.
I guess. But her daughter Diane remained living with her. So the two boys were gone and the daughter remained.
So
And
the
as an adult,
the
what?
daughter's older? She's older, right? You said the daughter
Yes.
is?
Yeah,
Okay.
the daughter was the eldest, Diane. Yeah.
Hmm.
As an adult, apparently Diane's questions about her brothers were met with curt answers from her mother, like, we don't talk about that. That's in the past, that kind of stuff. Um, but this great granddaughter, Allie, wanted to track them down once she heard about them, and she decided DNA might be the way, might be the only way. They don't have any
Shit.
info. Allie would submit her DNA, and with the help of her mother, who I believe was named Cindy, but I only heard that mentioned like once or twice, they would get DNA from Grandma Diane, who was now suffering from dementia.
Okay.
So they're gathering up all the DNA, and Diane's DNA was sent off to something called MyHeritage, and Allie's to, among others, 23andMe, which, as we mostly all know, is a genealogy database where people go to learn about their ancestry, locate lost relatives, etc.
Yeah.
And speaking of ancestry, she also submitted her DNA to Ancestry.ca, MyHeritage, and GED Match, which I hadn't heard of. And
What is that?
I did learn that, fun fact, GED Match was used to help catch the Golden State Killer, actually.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Allie knew it would be super difficult to find out more without like these key pieces of information of her great uncles, like the date of their disappearance or their birth dates or anything like that. She did know her grandma Diane was born in July of 1937, and she was the eldest of the 3 kids. And they had all attended Henry Hudson Elementary in Kitsilano. But like no alarm was ever raised for the 2 boys not coming back to school or anything, so it just
Damn.
got weird. Yeah, it's kind of sad. But I guess, I don't know. Tough times it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. The DNA sample, I believe, was taken from the boys in 2021. That's what one thing said. But it was given to the Redgrave Research Forensic Services, a Massachusetts-based forensic genetic genealogist company. Love genetic genealogy. Hate saying it. It's so long.
Yeah.
There they were able to identify a maternal grandmother of one of the boys, and from there they could slowly expand the family tree and see if any other matches were out there. Oh, because fun fact, like the 2 boys also had 2 different fathers, so that made it hard too.
Okay. So they were
Yeah, they
half
figured out they were
brothers.
brothers, but like 2 different
Yeah.
fathers. Yeah.
Damn.
I think they said, yeah, that Allie is still trying to track down the fathers.
Oh,
Finally,
that's sad.
after, I know, it's so much like leg work. um, so after the diligent detail checking by the whole task team they had formed, which included the Vancouver PD and the BC Coroner Service as well, they found a distant relative living in a suburb of Vancouver. They said they also knew that a relative of the boys had lived near the entrance of Stanley Park at the time of their death, where the boys had also been living elsewhere in Vancouver at the time. It was so hard what they were working with. Quote, most of the remains had been cremated in the 1990s and only a few fragments were left. Because they had been handled by many people over the years and been on display at both the Vancouver Police Museum and the PNE, not sure what that is, the DNA was contaminated, making it difficult to get a sample. But in January, Redgrave announced that they had succeeded in extracting a DNA kit from the bone fragments of the older boy, Derek, had uploaded it to GD Match, and their team of forensic genetic genealogists were building out family trees and searching for living relatives. Then, earlier this month, Allie's mother was approached by a VPD detective who told her that her uncles were the 2 skeletons that had been found in Stanley Park.
Damn. That must be like devastating.
She just like learns that she has these uncles and then learns that they're
They
like the
died when they were like
unidentified.
7 and 5.
Yeah, oh,
Like,
so
fuck.
young. Yeah, they realized the boys would have been called David and Derek Dalton, most likely, which was a surname of their mother Eileen's. Maybe a surname by marriage. They're not quite sure. Apparently, she went by a few different surnames. Like,
Oh, okay.
Little Derek was born on February 27th, 1940, and David on June 24th, 1941. And both were believed to have been killed in 1947-ish.
Frick.
Yeah, they're really, unfortunately, not sure, but the theory is that a close relative killed them. The police said they believed it was someone who died in 1996. So that could have been great-great-grandma Eileen, who passed in 1996 when Allie was just 3 months old and she was 78. and that would have been their own mother, just to
Yeah, that's what I
clarify.
think. As soon as you
Mm-hmm.
said lady with the fur coat, I'm like, the freaking mom killed them.
Right? And then she's seen later without them, without her
Yeah.
shoe.
But I mean, if she's telling people that the kids went to social services, how hard was it to give kids to social services? Why couldn't she have actually done that? Why did she
Mm-hmm.
have to fucking kill them?
Yeah, right. If that's the case, it's very
If
heartbreaking.
you're already gonna lie about what happened to the kids, then just do the
Yeah.
lie. Don't kill them.
Like, how backed in the corner do you have to be to think that's your only out?
Yeah.
Um, but to that point, the Cold Case Canada host Eve said she had found several instances around the year of their disappearance of mothers killing their children out of what might be sheer despair slash desperation. That's fun. I told you this one was a big
She
old trigger warning for child crap. Ugh. I guess times were extremely tough for women after the war, just in general, like losing their jobs when the veterans came home and all that, trying to support the kids and stuff.
yeah.
Um, so she had found one instance, like in the Vancouver area around that year, where one woman locked herself in with her child and turned the gas oven on to gas poison themselves,
Jeez.
right? And another instance where the woman, the mother, threw her child, then herself off of a bridge.
Oh my
So, like,
god.
it happened. I mean,
Yeah.
but like to think that she could have just bludgeoned her own kids, that's really
With a
tough for me.
hatchet,
With
like
a
in the
hatchet.
head.
When you have two little kids with you, like, where, one's gonna be going, like, Mom, what? Although they had
Yeah.
no defensive wounds, like, they figured it would have happened so fast. Ugh.
Yeah. Fuck.
I mean, why would there be? You trust your mother, you're a child.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, like there was a few podcasts and things that talked about a few different witnesses, like the one I mentioned, Heather's mother-in-law Anne, who saw like a woman going into the park with her kids, and sometimes they saw her going in with the hatchet, which was not uncommon at the time, I guess, because you might have been going to chop your own like firewood, because it's a big old park with barbecues and shit, right? Like,
Oh, okay.
apparently that didn't raise an alarm for people to see a woman going in there with her kids and a hatchet.
Okay. Because I was wondering about that. Fuck.
And like I should just mention, apparently that was not yeah, a
Well,
red
that's good to
flag.
know.
No, but like people did see a woman going in with two boys, a hatchet.
Huh.
There was like one or two witnesses that said they saw another woman, like a woman coming back out without the kids. One person said that she looked bloodied on her leg and was missing a shoe, and said that she'd fallen in the water or something and seemed distraught. So like there were a couple
Huh.
eyewitness accounts, sort of, but like because they had kept thinking they were looking for a woman with a girl and a boy, a lot of these things I think were like not looked at the
Yeah.
time.
That's true. Forgot about that.
Yeah. One woman thought she saw a woman and two boys matching the description of the missing boys, but the woman called one of the boys Rodney as she was, sort of eavesdropping or whatever. But apparently she was also in the middle of breaking up with her boyfriend at the time, so she might not have been the most reliable witness. um,
Damn.
yeah. So what do we think? Because that's like basically all I have.
I think it was the mom, like it was her, and I can't
Yeah.
believe it though. Like that's just so
Yeah.
awful.
It does seem the most likely, even though like her family members that knew her were like she was so loving, and like she was a caregiver, she would babysit, like, it was not someone you were afraid to leave your kids with, that she was an animal lover. But like maybe if the times were just that hard, like if you felt that was your only option, maybe there was
Yeah.
just something that happened one day and you just were like, fuck it, I can't do it anymore. But it just is like, then why do you have still the one kid that got left behind,
Yeah.
you know?
I would
So it's
feel
weird.
like so bad for her,
Yeah.
like being like the one that survived and everything, and then
Right.
like having one thing, like growing up your whole life and wondering where your brothers are and imagining what kind of lives they've had growing up and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, if you thought they were like given away, and then finding out like they were actually, your mom probably actually killed them that
That would be
day,
horrifying.
and then
Yeah.
knowing that like she was capable of that and like raising you
Right.
and all that stuff. I can't imagine what that would be like.
No. Yeah, it must have been traumatizing for the daughter, Diane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. I'm just like, oh, and this Allie, the great granddaughter, and she's out there like, I hear about these great uncles and I want to find them and I'm gonna do everything I can and submit my DNA and stuff and like look for them. And I'm like, good for you. Like that's so cool.
Yeah.
And then like
Damn.
you get to help solve this like case that's been epic and plaguing these police detectives and stuff for how many years? It's like you solved the Golden State Killer of BC almost, right?
Yeah,
But
that's the thing. I'm kind of mad that one police guy like cremated the remains and everything. I don't really like that. Like
no,
I no, 'cause it stopped them. It could have stopped them from like having them been looked over again, and they could have figured out it was two boys maybe, or
no, but
they
he
could
was the
have.
one that kept the tooth and sent it into the
I
dentist that figured out
know.
it was two boys. So I'm like, I felt like he was one of those ones that was so into it. He was just like, I have to like
Yeah.
do something with their bones so that they're not sitting in this cardboard box. They were like just sitting in the police
But
like
like they could have
evidence
buried
like
like the bones
yes,
and
but
like done something that way so that like in the future if they needed more DNA or needed to analyze them, they would have been available instead of them not being available, you
no,
know?
I know, but I'm still like, yeah. And they had him for this how many years, and they were sitting on a shelf. And then he's like, I'll keep the crucial stuff for DNA. And then I'm gonna like let these poor kids like fucking rest. And no, we're not gonna put them back in the park. Like somebody was like, are you sure you should have done that? And he was like, well, they didn't seem like they were gonna do anything else with them, have them sit on a freaking shelf. And like, no, I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna put them back in the park. And I was like, no, I agree with that. Why would they want to go? But you wouldn't want to put them back in the park where they were murdered. But like, yeah, I see what you're
No,
saying
but
as
they've
well.
done like unmarked kind of like graves or like child
Sure.
graves being like the no.
Yeah. Yeah, why wouldn't they have
Yeah.
done that in the beginning or at least
Yeah.
like they just were those poor boys were just treated like
Yeah.
trash for such a long time and everyone's
Yeah.
so happy they finally have their names back and like can at least not just be forgotten, you
Yeah, they have
know.
a family,
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, that's so sad.
Also, apparently there's another case when you just look up Babes in the Woods, and sometimes I put BC because I was like, I'm sure there's other cases, and there is. There's one that comes up that says like Babes in the Woods Brighton. So like I think there might be one in the
Okay.
UK or something too. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, sometimes stuff gets like the same kind of name or like similar enough. They seem to like meld together. Sometimes you have
Yeah.
to be careful. I had that with a couple of mine
Yes.
before where I'll be like halfway through reading something and I'll be like, this isn't my case.
Right? Yes,
You're like, I'm
same.
like reading my notes, making notes, being like, this doesn't make sense anymore. I'm like, what's going on?
Completely different person name. Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's
you're just
true
like,
though,
oh
because they get the
shit.
same kind of nicknames, like the Lonely Hearts Killers and stuff
Or
like
like the
that.
killer has the same name, or one of the victims has the same name, or
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
you're
true.
just like,
That's true.
yeah, well,
Yeah, gotta
jeez.
watch out.
Thanks, I hate it.
Oh yeah, isn't it good? I'm
Damn.
glad they. Well, at least I'm telling it now. Where at least in the last couple of years, they finally figured out who the fuck they were.
Yeah, otherwise I'd be so depressed right now.
Right? It's like that's the worst kind of unsolved case. No wonder it drove everybody crazy. Not only do you not know who the killer is, you don't even know who the victims are. Like
Yeah,
technically, like that must have been the hardest part for them. It's just like we can't even say who these kids were. Yeah, but now they know. So at least there's that.
yeah. That's good.
Yeah. So anyway, maybe someday our podcast will do something good and someone will be like, hey, I should submit my DNA, and then some killer will be found. I don't know. Big
Yeah.
hopes.
Yeah, I have nothing wrong with it. I wish more people would submit their DNA and that kind of stuff. Send it out
Yeah.
there.
Can be really helpful, that's for sure. It would just be interesting. I would do it just to learn a little bit more about my heritage, so I don't just have to be like, I don't know, I'm French, English, German, Scottish, something. What? Like,
Yeah, that's kind of what we had with my family until like the last 10 years or so when it was like,
oh yeah.
okay, like uh once like my dad's mom passed away, we got like a lot of her files and like records and stuff that she
Mm,
had. Like my dad was able to finally go through it because a
that's
lot of our
cool.
families, like different generations, have like estranged and separated from the
Sure.
family, so we've
Oh
lost a
yeah.
lot that way.
That
So like
happens.
finding out where like his side of the family actually is from, and my mom
Oh,
kind of knew like
cool.
hers, so that was a bit easier. But my dad's side, we never really had any idea.
Interesting.
So
No, you often don't if someone's
yeah.
not into the family records and you're not like some famous family. Like it can be
Yeah,
hard.
right. We don't get to be on a TV show. Who do you think you are or whatever? Become a celebrity.
Oh, was that what it was? Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, something. They do like a whole research thing. I think they do. I think probably DNA is like part of it, but it's kind of like ancestry. They go through the like the whole thing.
That's cool. I mean, hey, I think you can even do it for your dog nowadays. It shows what breed they
Yeah,
are. And whatnot.
do
Yeah.
it for Gordo and just tell me
Oh,
he can
great
be a
dog.
butthead. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He can be a butthead. Yeah.
And do it to Fenrir, and then you tell, oh, his weakness is garlic sausage. And we heard from other people that they train their Akitas with garlic sausage. And I'm like, oh, that makes
Oh,
sense because he will
it's
eat
bred
it.
in.
Oh yeah,
It's
you slice
a
that up, and he's all of a sudden sitting up, like sitting really
damn.
pretty at your feet. Like, oh hi, mom, can I have some of that? What if I sit really pretty right here?
It's like a evolutionary
Oh my god, it's a
trait now.
Pavlovian response. I don't even have to. I like move or like I shut my book. I'm at the dinner table and like I haven't finished eating, and the dog's waiting just for me, just to see if I'll give him any scraps. I like barely move. I don't even get up off the chair, and he's like, and he just like raises up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
buddy, I haven't even left my seat yet. And you just heard me like close my book and make like a move, like I was gonna move, and he's all like, it's so
Yeah,
funny.
there's something like animals can tell because I was
Oh my
reading
god.
something online. I've ran it across it a couple times, and it was the thing about I'm pretty sure it was a cat, but it was this girl and the cat. And whenever she thought of ice cream, because her cat was obsessed with eating ice cream,
Oh my
she'd be
god.
like gonna go to the freezer, and she said her cat could tell when she was gonna be getting ice cream or not getting ice cream because the cat
Ow!
didn't care about anything else. But if she was going to the like freezer to get ice cream, the cat could tell, and the cat would like stalk her and then be like begging. And it could be any time of the day, after any meal, whatever, different times. She said she tested it. She said sometimes she'd walk up to the freezer and be like, think about anything other than ice cream, knowing she's gonna get the ice cream, and the cat like would ignore it. And she'd grab the ice cream and then the
What?
cat would react. But then other times she'd
Trying to
walk over there.
mess with the psychic waves to the cat.
Yeah, then other times she'd be walking up there like thinking about I'm gonna get the ice cream, I'm gonna get the ice cream, and she grabbed something else, and then it would like psych the cat out because the cat thought she was getting the ice cream, and it was like, oh my god, I've read it a couple times. It's kind of
That's
wild.
so
She said she
bizarre. The
did so
cat
many
has an ice
tests.
cream sense.
Yeah, could like tell when she was gonna be getting ice cream or like fake the cat out, and
Oh
yeah,
my
it was
god.
wild.
That's, yeah, that's preternatural. Like my dog is like, I'll
Yeah,
smell your breath. You just had something I want, but like he doesn't
yeah,
anticipate it. Like you're gonna
right.
go get, well, not to that extent. Yeah.
Yeah, Gordo can just tell with it when it's like an hour or so before he's supposed to get fed. Anytime I go
Mhm.
into the kitchen, he's like, "Oh, you're gonna feed me now?"
Oh
He gets
yes.
that,
Oh yeah.
but
You watch the
yeah,
eyebrows go up. Like on
he's like,
Fen,
"Oh,
he'd
is
be
it time?
running
Is it
away.
time? No, you're just getting water. Okay."
Yeah. Same thing. Fen's like, Dad went to the kitchen. He opened the pantry. That's where my treats are.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, but that's where his treats are too.
yeah.
Oh my god. Oh
Wow.
yes, we could talk about our cats and our our cats, our pets and our books all day because that's what we did
Yeah,
for like half an hour before we started.
pretty much.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
But it's
Um,
fitting because what are we talking about next week?
what are we talking about next week? I don't know.
It's the animals. We're gonna be covering some animals, so it's
Oh
perfect that we talked about animals.
yeah. That's so funny, and I wanted to talk about animals too, so you'd think I'd remember. Amazing animals!
Yeah,
Yay!
yeah. Might have
That should be
some
a good one.
cool animal stories coming at you.
You're right. I'm excited. It won't
Yeah,
all be
should be a
about
fun
Gordo
one.
and Fen.
Yeah, becoming best friends and saving the planet from aliens.
Exactly. All right. Well, check us out. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. We need all
Yes.
those ratings, y'all.
Yeah,
Got to get out there so we can get 10,000 listens.
we do. We're well past 10,000. We talked
No,
about.
that's true. I guess I mean for like some people get 1,000 listens for every episode. I would love to be in that category.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Tell
It's
if
true.
every listener could tell 150 of their closest friends.
Or maybe you tell 3 in 1 listens. We're still ahead of the game.
Yeah, tell
Yeah.
somebody, share.
It's
Uh,
true. It's the only the word of mouth that works, and people say it. They're like, I do all the things, but nothing can help me as much as you telling someone else to check me out because they won't find
yeah,
me otherwise.
tell a friend about your favorite episode. Uh,
Hell yeah. Link them to the Lady Wonder and the lie detector test because that was a fun one.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, and then we had to bring you down a bit, and then we'll do something maybe a little less depressing next week.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be.
I think so.
We'll save all the rest of the pet tangents for next week then.
Okay.
Yeah,
We always have a lot.
yeah, never ending.
All right. Well, in the meantime, keep it cryptic.
Bye.
Well, all our longtime listeners will definitely know that recording a podcast is not always easy.
Yep.
Nope. So you better believe, like, when we find something we like, that we're gonna probably stick to it and not look for anything else. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love Zencaster. When we tried it, we were like, okay, finally, I wanted to have the video, and it's what, up to 4K video, which is
Yeah.
pretty effing cool. I can see every pore on Kelsey. No, I'm just kidding.
I hope not.
But it's great video and like just really easy on this one. So like once we stopped recording on our phones, I was like, yeah, this is the one for us. So even though sometimes our computers fuck up, it always comes through for us in the end because we've never lost like a recording, knock on wood, and every time we've had to use it, it's just been really great and really easy, and everything's just recorded when we wanted it to, which is, it's a lot to ask for when you podcast as much as we do.
Yeah. It's nice that each of us has our own separate audio recording that you can download and edit. So it makes when one of us is
Not us.
doing something or has something, it's easy. You can edit that out even with the other person was talking because you have two separate tracks that you can edit. Yeah, it's one of the reasons we love Zencaster. Definitely, it makes it a lot easier. And the audio quality is also a lot better than any of the other programs we tried using in the past.
Yes, it is the best. So go to zencaster.com/pricing and use my code cryptic, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencaster paid plan.
We want you to have the same easy experience as we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story.
Keep it cryptic. Thank you for listening to Castles and Cryptids. We love all our listeners and appreciate every subscriber, every new review, every listen, rate, and download. Our music is by Kobe Off Air, and our cover art is by Antonio Garcia. We are also a proud member of Darkcast Network, where you can find the best and spookiest of all indie podcasts. Follow us on social media, where we are at Castles and Cryptids on mostly all of the things, now including TikTok. Check out our bonus content on Patreon: cryptid clashes, video minisodes of your hosts making asses of themselves, Ask Me Anything, quizzes, other special episodes, and more. Starting at just $2 a month, you can get 1 to 2 extra episodes, depending on your level. We produce, edit, and research everything ourselves, and any support you can lend helps us to keep it cryptic.